Jai Shri Krishna. And today we continue with the 24 gurus of Dattatreya, where King Yadu is asking Dattatreya that how come you always are roaming around fearlessly, reveling in absolute bliss. So Dattatreya tells him, well, I have learned from 24 gurus in my life, and if you remember correctly, it was last time he spoke about what he learned from earth and what he learned from air. And this is an excerpt, this is of course, it comes in the Srimad Bhagavad, which are discourses by Swami Tejomayanandaji of the Swami Chinmayananda order. So here I continue from 912, where he speaks, where Dattatreya says that he made space his guru as well. So let's see what he says. Space accommodates everyone and everything. Space houses galaxies, solar systems, the sun, the moon, stars, planets, rivers, oceans, trees, mountains, and more. Everything exists in space. Because space accommodates everyone, it is called Akash, meaning without limits. See how magnanimous and pervasive space is. It accumulates everything, even storms, typhoons, tornadoes, and blizzards. Yes, because it is so subtle, it remains untouched by anything, unchanged and devoid of any modification. The Avadhuta said, our heart should also become so generous and expansive. This is what I learned from space. See, so much happens in space, and yet it is unaffected. That is what Dattatreya is saying he learned from space. If we develop the magnanimity and vastness of space in our heart, what is within will start reflecting without. Just as if we board a train in India and ask for space to sit, the passenger already seated typically says there is no space. However, if someone we know sees us, he calls us over and insists on making space for us to sit. Why? Because they have space inside their heart. They make space for us outside also. So I think the point is to allow everything that happens and not be affected like the space or the sky does. And he says that if you if you have a big heart, don't they say that? If you have a big heart, you can accommodate anyone in your heart, whether he be your enemy or whether he be someone you don't like. So the point is, I think everyone has his own limit, his own ego. As I was reading the other day, that one way to, be able to forgive is to know that those who kind of try to harm us, they do it from their own understanding and their own place. So if when you know that they can't seem to be helping themselves, I guess you are able to forgive. And the other thing that the other guru of Dattatreya was water. So he says, what did water teach him? Water is life. A thirsty person feels happy at the mere sight of water. Its touch brings coolness to his body and mind. Typically, when a village or city is to be built, builders first check nearby to see if the water is available. Water gives life to all. Moreover, it is cool, fluid, and pure. It removes all impurities. Water removes the distress of heat and thirst and gives happiness and peace. The Avadhuta said, Avadhuta means Dattatreya, said, to give life to all, to give coolness and purity to all is what I learned from water. And what did he learn from fire? Let's read. Look at how unique and brilliant fire is. It is hard to approach and hard to grasp. Why? Because it is ever flowing upward, rising higher and higher. When someone's characteristics, knowledge, and conduct, etc., are all noble, no one can reproach or dishonor him. On the other hand, when someone has no ethics or virtues, or one's knowledge and character are ignoble, he is constantly criticized and dishonored by people. Such a person who has no values can even be bought. This is why we should be brilliant like fire, or ever rising upward in our thinking and life and living. So I have read a lot about fire, and they say that, see, fire always goes upward. Whether you light it down, that's why a candle, be it a candle or a diya or any fire that we even consider also the witnessed when we get married, it's because it's always going up. It gives you warmth, it gives you light, it helps you to cook. So, this is, of course, Shakun speaking, but the thing is that maybe we have to learn to give warmth and light to people and always rise upwards. And here, water gives coolness. So, can you imagine? No wonder the man Dattatreya was an Avadhuta, and he was so untouched by even the difficulties that came into his life. But to continue reading about fire, another notable point is that fire consumes and purifies whatever is put into it, yet itself remains unchanged. The very quality of fire is what it purifies, even the most impure of things, yet it remains untainted by any of them. Fire manifests in some places and says unmanifest in other places. Spiritual seekers too should live in the same way. It is said that they should burn their flaws and negativities in the fire of knowledge by performing sacred yajnas. Here, performing yajnas refers to sustaining oneself on food received as alms. So, I see, a lot of people say, in the olden scriptures it was considered like kind of a good thing to, kind of receive food in as alms. But today it's not, because today they've taken it as a profession. But in the olden days, because the kings and the princes had to go begging for their food or whatever, it kind of broke your ego. It brought down your ego that you had to beg for your living. This is how the Satyugis, or the people who lived in the ancient better times, were. And he continues, we need to reflect deeply on all these lessons one by one. Some years ago Swami Tejomananji is saying that I had composed a Hindi poem describing the qualities of each of the 5 elements and what can be learned from them. So then he gives us what he can be learned in the poem, which I probably will not read because it is in Sanskrit basically. So I will kind of leave that aside. And next time we will do what he learned from the moon. So, and that we will do next time. So today we have read up to page 917. So think about it, keep listening to it, and learn all that Avadhuta learned from the various elements. And maybe we should apply it to our life, yeah? And you take care, and God bless.